What it do, Dream Team? Welcome back to the channel. Here we are with our guy, Yorak Hunt. Absolutely love watching his videos. And we are here with Australia's best drivers. Now, before we can dive in, don't forget, if you enjoyed the video, smash that subscribe button and give it a like.
Yeah, some days I feel unfazed, like when I'm with my friends with a cup raised. On Monday, I got a gun raised, suicidal to a dime till hump day.
Oh my Jesus!
Like an automatic, more drinks, more songs, more beats to rap. I need a shrink, I'm going more.
Oh my God!
Thoughts at all, just to have new era. Rep my P's and those O's, need the Phillies with the orange and blacks. I feel home from Citizens Bank back to Camden Yards. It's a tale of two cities. And trust we go hard, trust we go hard. Yes, we go hard. You said we go hard, I said we go hard. Rockin' my Bob Cousy, stocking up on the loose. The lyrics come easy, but the life is a doozy. And yes, I'm choosy, and no, I won't settle, but I still take pop off.
Oh my God!
I'm talking bigger picture, and yes, I'm gonna hit you with the.
Australia is home to many famous racing drivers, such as Mark Webber, Daniel
Oscar
Ricciardo,
Piastri.
Peter Brock, and myself, just to name a few. But
You ain't say Oscar Piastri, my guy. Come on.
in today's video, we won't be talking about these famous racing drivers, because they've already had their time in the sun. Instead, we'll be focusing on some of Australia's greatest weapons behind the wheel, such as James from Carrum Downs.
I love
Anyway,
James.
that's enough waffle. Let's get into the greatest drivers in Australian history. In this video, we're going to start off with a bang. Quite literally. Now, I'll be the first to admit, I don't know too much about drug smuggling, but I would assume that the first rule of drug smuggling is to avoid police at all costs.
Yeah,
Now, obviously,
should
this
be.
van driver right here knew even less about drug smuggling than I do. You see, when you first see this video of a man crashing a van into a parked police car, you don't really think much of it. Because in our major cities, that's pretty much nothing out of the
Oh
ordinary.
my
Now,
God!
obviously, the police weren't too happy when they
Course.
found out that their Commodore had been mangled. So they decided to hunt down this high ace, and when they eventually found it, they found out that it had over 270
Oh
kilos of
my
ice in the
God.
back. Now, I don't know how
$200 million worth is mind-blowing. My days.
he managed to crash this high ace into the police car, but luckily for you, I've come up with two possible reasons. The first one being that he possibly helped himself to some of the product in the back of the van, therefore putting the high in high ace. Or maybe he lost control because when he came around that corner, he was carrying too much speed.
Oh,
Now, I'm not
That
too
could-
sure what happened to the driver after the
I got the joke so late and I'm embarrassed. I'm absolutely embarrassed that it clicked late in my head, but I got it. I needed the drums for it to click. I was like, that's a joke saying it. Carrying too much speed. I get it. I get it.
Now, I'm not too sure what happened to the driver after the fact, but something tells me he didn't get off on good behaviour.
Nah.
Anyway, that's enough about the story of the Toyota High on Ice. Because what's the opposite of ice? That's
Oh,
right,
that hurts me.
fire. As you can see here, this Mitsubishi Magna driver was
Oh
driving
my
down the freeway
God.
with only 3 tyres.
That's
now, while
crazy.
an occasional rim bashing is nothing out of the ordinary for us Australians, Captain
What?
Magna took it to a whole nother level while doing it at 110 k's an hour on the freeway. Now, while this baby green Magna with 3 tyres, no number plates and a smashed out rear taillight may be a great sight to see, it's not even the best part of this
What's
video.
that?
You see, if this took place in the middle of winter, no one would really care that much, but due to the fact that it took place in the middle of bushfire season, it was a bit more urgent to stop this man from lighting
dang.
spot fires, hence this dramatic arrest. But even after the action-packed citizen's arrest and hectic camera work, the man himself had the perfect answer for every question that the media could throw at him.
What happened to your wheel?
It popped just before, mate.
Why didn't you stop?
So I couldn't pop the boot with a spare.
What if you started fires with the sparks?
I'm a silly bloke. I'm not that silly, alright? If I started a fire, I would have stopped and put it out.
The 27-year-old driver.
If I stopped the fire, I would have stopped and put it out. Yeah, to do that in bushfire season is absolutely terrifying. because I've seen what them Australian bushfires are capable of.
Hasn't been charged over the spot fires.
And to round this action-packed news story off, we even got an interview from the legend himself, Dave Pringle. Rumour has it, he's not named after the chips are named after him. Now before we get into this next one, I'm going to have to ask you to press that subscribe button. We've rocketed past 69,000 and we're closing in on 100,000.
Oh my God.
Still haven't pressed it yet? That's alright, I'll wait. Alright, good. Now this next one happened fairly recently. For the sake of this story, we'll call this man Chris, short for crystal meth. Now Chris somehow managed to get his hands on someone else's Mercedes and was driving this stolen foreign around with what I assume was his wife or girlfriend in the passenger seat. Now the title of this video is Australia's Greatest Drivers, and Chris is no exception, and he knew it. Now after being cornered in a shopping centre car park, Chris had two options.
Oh my God.
Either get arrested or make a run for it. So logically, Chris put his
Made
foot
a run
straight to
for
the
it,
floor,
course.
ran straight over this spike strip and
Oh my
initiated a
God.
high-speed chase. Now Chrissy boy knew that he was an absolute weapon behind the wheel, and in between dodging pedestrians on the wrong side of the road, he made sure to remind his passenger and the viewers that he didn't know he'd end up having just how good of a driver he was.
Yeah, how's that for driving, Don? Good driving or not? That was bad driving, Don.
This man, he telling me this man is in a high-speed chase, bragging about his driving is insane, dog.
That was wicked driving, baby. Fuck, mate. Lucky I got out of there like I did. Not one scratch on the car. Nobody thinking this country.
Well, after he makes his way through the traffic and finds an empty road where he can unleash the beast, they have this small conversation, run a red light, and instantly smash into
my
a
God.
Ford Ranger. Now you all know that you can't frighten a trident, but what you can do is slam a stolen Mercedes into it. Now after somehow surviving, they managed to make the slowest on-foot escape of all time and get instantly arrested. But the most interesting part about this whole story is the fact that the accident involved a Ford Ranger. And in quite possibly the first time in Australian history, it wasn't the Ford Ranger doing 3 times the speed limit and running the red light. Now before we get into this next one, I have a quick math question for you guys. What do you get when you get a Mitsubishi Magna with no tyre on the back left wheel driving down the freeway and times it by 3? That's
No
right, you get
way.
1B double with the 3 back left wheels all missing tyres, also driving on the freeway. Now back in
Oh my
November of
God.
2022, this video was captured and shared on TikTok. It shows this red B double with what's left of the back 3 wheels parked up at a truck stop. Now from what I've
Jesus
heard, the truck driver was
Christ.
aware that the back 3 wheels had blown out. Instead of pulling over like any other normal person would do, he continued to drive like this for over 10 kilometers. Now obviously
That's
this isn't very
insane.
safe to do at all, and even
course.
more unsafe than doing it in a Mitsubishi Magna. So when
Yeah.
the man behind the camera decided to confront the truck driver and ask him what he was doing, this is what he had to say. Alright, before we get into our last one,
That's crazy. Bro, that is way too dangerous for people to be out here doing. That's insanity.
gotta get through a whole bunch of honorable mentions. These are either people I've done an in-depth analysis on in my previous videos, or certain groups of drivers in our community that it'd be rude not to include. Alright, first up we have the all-time classic Clinton from Just Waiting for
Gotta
a Mate.
have him.
This all-time classic clip, brought to you by Wild Turkey, has aged like fine wine and cemented it as one of the all-time classics. Another one in the same boat is Rami passing the breath test on RBT. That one
Oh,
bloke who got
Lord.
his Nissan Patrol to do 480 kilometers an hour on the Mooney
Oh my
Mooney Bridge.
God.
Darren from Bogan Hunters, who holds the prestigious title of Tasmania's second worst driver. Ford Ranger drivers, the elderly. This police officer
elderly.
who took a detour through Destination
Oh
Far.
my
And
God.
of course, this bloke right here from the Must Be Stuck in Third AU Falcon ad. Alright, now it's time for the one you've all been waiting for, the greatest
What's that?
driver in all of Australia's history.
Who's
now what I'm
that?
about to say might come as a shock to you, but Australia's greatest driver isn't a single person, it's a collection of people. And that collection of people are P-platers. Now, if you've been
P-platers.
watching my videos for long enough, you'd know that the P in P-plate stands for either performance or professional. And professional is exactly what P-platers think they are. Now, P-platers have brought us iconic moments in history, such as this,
Oh Lord.
this,
Oh
and this,
God.
just to name a few.
Oh my
Drifting
God.
roundabouts, doing burnouts at traffic lights, jumping speed bumps, and
Oh
doing
my
reverse
Lord.
entries in a front-wheel drive car are just some of the specialist
Nah, that's
skills that
crazy.
P-platers are the master of. Now, while
That's
P-platers are
crazy.
required to display these plates on their car, some of the driving that you see them perform would be more suited to these plates. But unfortunately, this
Jesus.
fully sick style of driving has its downsides. You see, every time an AU Falcon spins out drifting a roundabout on the way home from passing the P-plate test, that's one less AU Falcon on the road available for you to buy on Facebook
dang.
Marketplace. And if you've pressed that subscribe button, it's safe to assume that you have a very high IQ, which means you'd be able to understand supply and demand. So basically what that means is that over the last 10 or so years, the amount of AU Falcons that have been crashed by P-platers mastering the art of the roundabout drift has caused the price of the AU Falcon to skyrocket from somewhere around $500 to well over $600. And on that economic bombshell, it's time to end. If you enjoyed this video,
Oh
make
my
sure to
God.
like, subscribe.
Oh, it did right there. They said from $500 to over $600. Y'all tell me if y'all agree with this list, or did the prophet Yorak Hunt get this one wrong? Talk to me in the comment section. And if you enjoyed that reaction, make sure you check out this one next. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and get a video a like. See you guys on the next one.